AI is, well, actually, I know AI is not a trend. It is here to stay, and it is revolutionizing our technology. That AI can literally do almost anything for us. Playing in the B team, yet I
Yeah.
still managed to become an international athlete. If you're a professional, I would definitely give you time off. And I said, oh, okay. I've coached, and it's just a natural ability of mine. And I think I just jumped into that, and that's what allowed me to excel in both netball and touch quite quickly.
So we're going with a tri-career athlete. Which one did you have to sort of give up first of your sports, or how did that sort of play out?
I don't mind if we lose because, like, you never fail, you only learn. And it's almost like I kind of want that.
Marnie, welcome to the Second Win Academy podcast.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks so much for having me.
You are more than welcome. I think I was saying before, I love the background that you have. And in fact, it's getting better because the birds are fluttering in the background as well.
And hopefully you can't see the steam coming out of my mouth because it's so cold.
I know. Listen, here's me. So we're swapping our home countries here. So we've got me in 32-degree heat, and it's like still 8 p.m. And I guess it's just a bit nippy for you back in England.
It's a balmy 6 degrees at 9:15 in the morning.
That is awesome. There we go. And you're braving it outside. Well,
I am.
hopefully we'll have a rousing conversation, so it'll keep you nice and warm.
Love it.
But look, thanks for joining me. And well, do you know what? Just quite simply being open to share your story. I think it's actually really fascinating, especially because you're an Aussie now in England, having represented England at sport, but represented England across two sports, and then quite an entrepreneurial flair as well.
Yeah, I think I was telling to you just earlier about the fact that I don't sound very Australian anymore,
Mm.
which upsets me a little sometimes. But I have been here in the UK for 20 years. I did come over as a ripe 21-year-old. So yeah, it's been a long journey over here, but thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, and well, I guess starting from where you are sort of right now, just let us know what you're up to nowadays, and well, kind of give us that infomercial.
Sure. So I am a mum. I like to start with that. I think that's really important. It's probably my proudest achievements thus far. My little girls are 7 and 3. I'm also a business owner. So I am the CEO of a company called Sporty Minis, and we go into early years settings and deliver physical education. Um, and I'm also an AI consultant. So I help businesses and education adopt AI and try to be more efficient and creative with AI tools. And I
We,
guess I still play. I still play touch. So I last year was my fourth World Cup, and then this year we have a little European Championships to get ready for. And I also do a lot of coaching, which I absolutely love. So this year I'm doing the England mixed 20s side for the Youth Atlantic Cup. So that all of that keeps me very busy.
wow. As I fully can imagine, probably none more so than being a mum with the two girls, but then trying to fit the businesses and, as you say, touch rugby, or I don't know. Are you saying touch rugby or touch footy? Or footy, should I
I
say?
grew up
Where,
calling it touch footy, but I guess here in the UK, if you're in the circle, you just call it touch, and if you're out of the circle, you call it touch rugby.
Oh, I'll get in with touch then, and I won't add the footy or anything else towards the end of that. But I think that's again quite interesting. But you mentioned there coaching the 20s in the Atlantic. Did you say
Yeah, the
what's
Youth
that?
Atlantic Cup. Yeah, so every other year, I think every other year, um, so one year we have a European Championships, and then the second year we have a Youth Atlantic Cup, and that also includes all of Europe, but it includes South Africa, USA, Cayman Islands. And then on the
Mhm.
other side, so where you are in Australia, they've got an Asian Cup, I think it might be called, or transatlantic. Oh, I should have looked that up beforehand. Theirs is coming up. It's in May, and they've
Mhm.
got like Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Japan, um,
Right. Yeah.
Malaysia, and that side.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a good Asian Cup to me. But yeah, we'll find it. We'll get it right. We'll get the facts checked. We'll get it in the show notes so everyone knows what they should be looking out for. And you mentioned from a business perspective a couple of things there from Sport Minis, but starting with the AI, talk to me a bit. I'm asking for a friend.
um, cool. So, what does your friend need to know? What would you like to know, Ryan?
Oh, just how might AI make their business sort of more efficient? What are the sorts of things they should look out for? I think, yeah,
Yeah.
just generally thinking, but they do, perhaps the odd podcast and maybe a bit of coaching as well.
Perfect. Well, I always start with actually mindset, because I think AI is, well, actually, I don't think I know AI is not a trend. It is here to stay and it is revolutionizing our technology. And um, if we don't adopt a growth mindset around the fact that AI can literally do almost anything for us, and fast forward 5, 10, 15 years, AI will be doing everything for us. We have to kind of get on board with that and have that adoption mindset and the mindset around abundance of, you know, we've got a lot to do personally, you as a podcaster, and all the other endeavors that you have as well. You've got to think to yourself, how can I save time by using an AI tool? And I guess it starts with always, my top 3 tips would be always have an AI um, meeting note taker. So always have a AI. My favorite is Otter.ai, and Otter joins me everywhere. And then that becomes my bank of memory. So I've been using Otter since 2022, and I can jump on and I can even ask Otter AI to look back at, or have a look back at all my conversations, pick up a few things that are related to when I was talking about AI in 2022, and it will go through all my conversations I've had, and it will bring something up, and I can take that and I can put that into
That's
another favorite AI tool of mine, which is called Claude. Claude is great at copywriting, and I can ask Claude to write me a LinkedIn post about what I was talking about around AI in 2022 versus what I'm doing now, and there you go. And then I think my third, probably best AI kind of tool would be ChatGPT and a custom GPT. So you can train, um, and one of the first workshops I do is always train AI to sound like you, because it's really important that we learn how to talk to AI, because AI is built with a whole lot of data, a whole lot of information, and especially the generative AI, which is the AI that we use, all the ones that we know about, ChatGPT,
Hmm.
Claude, Gemini, um, and it will always try and please you. So if you say, I would like you to create me an outline for a podcast I'm doing, it will try and please you and know and only give you what it knows. But if you give it as much information about you, your
Hmm.
guest, the outcomes you want, your audiences, um, and then it has more information, will be able to impress you there. And I would suggest you do your own podcast GPT, where you give it a lot of information about what you've done already, all your past guests, how you want the podcast to be structured, and how you want it to um, ask the questions, I guess. And then you can always use that GPT. And I know you have an assistant as well, so you always use that GPT as well, because you can share the link, and
Yeah.
then there you go. 3 tips.
Brilliant. Those are awesome 3 tips. And actually, do you know what I love? The first bit is, or not just on the tools, but you start off with the mindset. That isn't where, that's not where I would have gone to, perhaps. I wouldn't have gone to mindset first. I'd have probably gone straight to the tools. Um, and yeah, I like the way you just bring that around.
Yeah, well, especially in a lot of women in business networking groups that I go to, there's a lot of professionals, lawyers or accountants, just as an example, and that they're very scared of it. They're normally later in age, and I just say to them, okay, where were you in 2008 when the iPhone or the smartphone became the go-to? I said, I was at uni, I had a BlackBerry, and I thought it was the bee's knees. Like literally, I was like, why would I change to an iPhone? Like my BlackBerry, I can type. Like why would I do that? And it wasn't until my granddad had an iPhone and an iPad that I was like, hang on a second.
Wow.
I know, right?
Okay.
So for me, I talk about that because I'm like, we all thought what we had was great, and we were
Mm.
almost, I mean, say we, stereotyping, I did. I thought what I had was great. And I
Yeah.
didn't think
Yeah.
I was very techie at all. And it's really important to note that you don't have to be techie to use AI at all.
No.
Really, really important to note that. And I didn't think I was techie at all. So I didn't want to change to an iPhone because I didn't really know how to use it. It would take time and all of these things. And
Mhm.
that's exactly where we are now. But guess what? That was only 17 years ago. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, our life has completely changed. And I don't know about you, but I could work literally a whole week by my phone, not have to open a laptop. So, yeah.
Pretty much there with you on that one as well. Now, you're quite right. That shift, it does change. And look, well, what we should do is certainly get into the athletic side
Sorry.
of your life, and then get back to that. No, no, just like I said, I was asking for a friend. They literally just popped in. Let's just see where we go. No, no, but that is all. That's all good. But perhaps there is something there, and we talk, and the mindset and the coaching that you do in terms of sport, and we do say, guess where you flip it, but a lot of the difference between elite and the top level and true elite comes down to that mindset and that belief and how you set yourself up. So maybe we'll loop back around into that piece. But I'm curious then for you, the question I ask everyone, growing up at that starting point for you, where in a non-tech world, um, what was sport for you as you started to grow up, and actually where were you when you were growing up?
Yeah. So I was on the Gold Coast in Australia, and I know vividly that I loved PE and I wanted to be a PE teacher from the time I was 5. And literally, everything I did was related to that. And PE was always my favorite. And yeah, and the only subject I ever got A's in was PE when it got to secondary school. So yeah, it's always what I wanted to do. I was really lucky. My parents valued sport and physical activity, so I did little athletics and swimming and netball. And my auntie was really into touch, so she used to take me into adult touch comps when I was like 10, 12. And then as a family, we played together. So we were all in one team at one point. I have a younger brother and sister, so it was all 5 of us in a team.
Yeah,
It didn't last very long, to be honest. We didn't really play very well together, but it was just a family thing. It's what we knew. And to be fair, and I was only telling this story to my partner just the other week, because we were talking about our daughter being selected for a football team, and we're trying to work out, whether she was selected in the A or the B team. We weren't quite sure, and I just said to him, you know what, I don't think it matters at this age. I said, because I know I went through most of my secondary school years playing in the B team, yet I
yeah,
still managed to become an international athlete. And I think the reason, if in my view, in my perspective, I think the reason is because I was such an all rounder and I was such
right.
a natural leader. And I think if you're in the B team and you've got someone that can play everywhere and you can captain, why would you then go and put them in the A team to be second choice to get on in a position? And I kind of
Yeah,
understand that now. And one of the things I often say to the players that I'm coaching at an international level is, I want you to be really good at your role, but I want you to be really adaptable to be able to go into another role. I don't want you to just be one position, because
yeah.
I
Why?
believe that your team and the performance of your team is only as good as the player playing in their weakest role or position. And that role doesn't have to be a position. That role could be a leadership role, or it could be, um, you know, a role in which they need to even just respect the people around them. Like, you're only as strong as everybody understanding their strengths and their weaknesses and playing to the roles and responsibilities that they've got.
Yeah, yeah. I fundamentally believe that too. So definitely preaching to the choir, if we can use that phrase, because I'm all about that team. And for me, growing up playing football, I very quickly recognised the role that we all had to play, all 11 of us. In fact, I'll bring the substitutes as well. In driving a team culture, in helping those on the field to perform at our best. And like you say, whoever was down that day, it was on us as a team to really lift them up. So as a squad, we would perform at our best.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so when you were, so, growing up doing sport on the Gold Coast, sounds like it was an immense part of your life. You said you wanted to be a PE teacher. Was that then the plan, or from a sporting perspective? What aspirations did you have whilst you were in Australia?
Um, Gosh, I actually didn't really, because I kind of grew up in B teams. It didn't really even occur to me, and it wasn't until I went to uni and I didn't actually get the
Yeah,
grades to go into teaching. So I did a health science degree and went round the other way. But to be fair, um, and it wasn't until uni and I'd made the athletics team, and then I'd made a Queensland netball team, and then I dabbled around with some touch outside of university, that I think my confidence just grew as I kind of grew as an individual and a person, and I was able to train a little bit more specific as well. Like as you get older, university teams, as an example, you just have access to better quality coaches,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
better quality training. Um, and to be fair, I was still rushing around like a crazy kid. I remember on a Thursday, you know, rushing from a netball game, from a touch game on the Gold Coast, rushing all the way up to Brisbane to play Queensland netball under 20s. And, I did it all. And in the morning, I'd had athletics training. And, that's just what university life was like for me. Just go to this sport, do that sport. And yeah, and
yeah.
I didn't really get into the university party stuff because it was all sport focused for me. So, but I wouldn't change a thing.
No, God, that's interesting, right? You were just loving sport, quite simply,
Yeah.
and studying, as you say, the long way round, but towards becoming that a PE teacher,
Hmm.
effectively.
Yeah.
What then inspired this move across to the UK? What's the story behind that?
Yeah. So I actually got injured. I tore an ACL, um, and I was rehabbing. And I guess when, like all athletes, when they have injuries, everything everything changes. And I don't know, for me, I just became a little bit more open to opportunities. And there was an opportunity. It was my high school sweetheart at the time, who surprisingly we're best friends now. He's married, and I'm the godmother to his son. So, long, we obviously moved over together, but didn't last too long. And then now we're still best friends. So, yeah, we just had an opportunity to move over. He was in the hospitality industry and I was a teacher. So we just moved over, and he played sports. So he came over actually on a rugby league scholarship. So he got that. And then I quickly joined the netball setup, and the touch setup. And yeah, within, I think 2010 was my first representative year, after moving over in 2009.
Yeah. So when you move, I mean, which is pretty cool. So, um, clearly you came over with just an abundance of joy for doing sport, and it sounds like coming off the injury, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm playing again, and this was great. How different was the approach, well, to, I guess, to touch and to netball in England, to what you had witnessed or to what you went through in Australia?
That's a really good question, because now that I'm thinking about it, that's definitely what increased my confidence. Um, and hopefully I can say this as nicely as possible. It was terrible. It was so
You
terrible.
can say it. You can say
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it was so terrible that at one point I actually went to play basketball. At one point I was like, oh gosh, I went to play basketball. And then I also, the touch also wasn't the best, and I got roped in to play rugby, and I'd never played rugby before. um, so but even that was hard because the forwards weren't so good and the ladies couldn't really catch the ball. So being a back, it was like I never got the ball. But
No,
it
we got
it
you.
it actually gave me confidence, because again, I think I then was able to almost jump straight into a leadership role, straight into coaching.
Mm.
I have coached, um, you know, almost from the time I was 14, I think was my first coaching gig. So like I've coached, and it's just a natural ability of mine. And I think I just jumped into that, and that's what allowed me to
Yeah.
excel in both netball and touch quite quickly, because the standard wasn't as good. And I just took all those skills that I'd already kind of showcased during school and university. What I will say now, though, very important for me to say, is netball is absolutely amazing. Most of our England players go and play in the Australian Super League and vice versa.
That's it.
And,
Yes.
they came second in the last Commonwealth Games, England, for netball. And touch, same thing. We're ranked third in the world
Yeah.
after Australia and New Zealand. And the last World Cup, my England team actually beat New Zealand. And when I first started playing against Australia, our scores were like 22-0. But the last
Hmm.
score, I think, was like 10-5 against Australia. So the gap is
Yeah.
definitely closed.
Yes. Yes, it has. And look, I think the investment in, well, I'll just say broadly, the investment and interest in women's sport, and I'll say actually in Australia it's changed, but I know as well in the UK it has increased tenfold, hundredfold from where it was, like you say, back in 2010. So yes, that standard has got there. And as an avid sports family, we do we pretty much watch any sport that's live in person here. So we tend to go to a lot of sport, and if England or any England person is playing, we go along, and I'm convincing the
I love
boys
it.
to continue to support England. So it is quite good.
I love it.
Um, so 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 now you then you're playing, but you came over here not for sport. You came over to England. Actually, you went to England, not for sporting purposes, but for follow your high school sweetheart. But then, from a I guess a non-sport, from a career perspective, what did you envision? What did you imagine would then happen?
Yeah, well, I actually did come over for a career as well because I couldn't get a teaching job on the Gold Coast. You have to go and do your rural time first. And I got posted to Gundawindi, which is 6 hours away from any closest airport, I think. I think it's like right in the middle of Australia. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know much about Gundawindi, and all I knew is that I didn't want to be there. So,
Mm.
yeah, got on a plane and off I went. But gosh, it probably broke. Moving over here probably broke my career dream of being a PE teacher. I really struggled in Australia. Everybody wanted to be a PE teacher in my era, and everybody loves PE teachers, and it was the coolest job in the world, and no one was retiring. And you know, I come over here, and no one wants to be a PE teacher, and nobody enjoys PE, and the facilities are rubbish, and um, yeah, you're not teaching for a lifelong passion, you're teaching to an assessment piece, and it was
Mm.
mind-blowingly painful. I tried
Wow.
many different things within my career. I tried to do like head of department director roles. I tried youth school sports partnerships. I tried everything to make an impact, and
Mm.
I really struggled. So I lasted 8 years,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
10, maybe 8, 10 years, and then I started my own business. I just actually, to be fair, there was a lot of reasons for starting my own business. The main one
Yeah.
was I hated the that I just lacked purpose as a PE teacher over here, and
Hmm.
secondly was I was a dual international athlete and no one was giving me time off. And one of the head teachers
Right.
actually said to me, "If you're a professional, I would definitely give you time off." And I said, "Oh, okay, but if I was professional and getting paid, I probably wouldn't be a teacher." So yeah, I just decided that I can do this on my own,
So,
and off I went.
there's a lot there. You jumped into that piece around being a dual international, which I guess we haven't discussed yet. So let's go back to that very quickly and say, what do you mean by being a dual international?
Yeah, I was really lucky. 2014, 2015, 2016, I got to play both England netball, and it was net, so it's indoor netball, and touch rugby at the same time. So my competitions overlapped, and
Hmm.
the biggest year was 2015, where I was in Australia twice for the touch rugby World Cup, and then or the touch World Cup,
Yeah.
and then the netball championship, world championship. So one was in Gonsalves and one was in Brisbane, all in that year, and it
Oh,
was crazy because my business, I'd only started my business 18 months before that. So
yeah.
yeah, it was a juggle.
Yeah, well, I bet it was right because the bit that is amazing is you just enjoyed sport. You enjoyed sport from participating. You enjoyed sport to the extent you wanted to teach it, and you were coaching from a young age. How? once you started hitting those representative levels, how did to what extent did your enjoyment of sport or sense of sport change?
Um, oh gosh, that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about it. I think, hmm, I think I struggled later on in my career when um, selection was harder and I wasn't making top teams, and mainly due to age,
Mm,
probably, and
yeah,
therefore younger people coming through. So I think that was when I started to not probably show signs of feeling like the enjoyment wasn't outweighing the anxiety and the stress and the mindset needed to, you know, find just have some self belief, because yeah, you don't believe your coach believes in you because you know they're making the hard selections. So you've got to have some type of trust and belief in yourself. Um, so I think that's probably the first time I was challenged was later in my career when yeah it was hard to make teams.
and going through your mind is more, gosh, what am I doing this for? Why am I slogging through a pre-season or that hard work or heartache, not to
Yeah,
play or not to enjoy it in that same way?
yeah, exactly. And then the big turning point was when I had my first little girl. You know, trying to get back was hard.
Yeah.
The hardest thing
Mhm.
mentally, physically, and emotionally. And yeah, it was really hard. And my sister, bless her, actually moved over from Australia for a year to help me prep for the 2019 World Cup because I was struggling looking after my
Yeah.
little one and training and my business and just trying to be a good all round person and get the best out of myself every day. It was really hard. Yeah.
Yes. And her coming over certainly helped build that, I guess, home community for you.
Yeah, yeah, the support, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm sure you 100% agree and see it in the elite setup you're in. A lot of the time, the athlete isn't the athlete without the support that they have around them, and it's not always the professional support; it's the family or friend support.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That certainly comes really important. And, talking about that, and you touched on it with, in the job as a teacher, for many athletes, well, so you're doing, it's funny, I haven't got a phrase for you there because usually a dual athlete or dual career athlete is doing, let's say, netball and a teacher, but you are doing two sports and a job, right? I don't know, tri career
Yeah,
athlete.
yeah,
Feel right,
yeah.
but we'll go with that. We'll
Business.
go with tri career
Yeah.
athlete. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And, yeah. And so in there, you spoke then that you didn't really get, I'm sure it's changed nowadays, but you didn't really get the support from the school education department, or perhaps it was individual, but to help, do your best. What was the hardest thing about that then? How did you manage to get everything in?
Um, just train in the morning, train in the afternoons, away on weekends. Yeah, honestly, you just like all athletes that want to be the best. They just make it work. They work out their priorities, and
Mhm.
they just look after themselves. Yeah, I don't know the secret. I don't have the. I couldn't tell you. I think it's sheer determination. I am a very determined person. I'm very ambitious. I'm very competitive, and I think those traits alone just allow you to grind. I think.
Mm. Yeah, that grind, that determination, as you described there, and you say that helped spur you to start your business. I'll say first business, but really to start properly, to leave education there and go into your first business. But you said there were a couple of reasons. Talk to me about what were those reasons that um, inspired you to go and be that entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I think it was probably a couple of years before that. I took a bit of a secondment from teaching, and I was helping out a business that was delivering personal training qualifications, and I was kind of ended up kind of running that business, and that just gave me massive confidence to kind of um, love being my own boss almost,
Yeah,
because schools
yeah.
are very rigid, right? You've got to be here at a certain time. You've got to deliver it at a certain time. You have to, yeah, it's endless in schools. So yeah, I think I just got the bit of a bug for being a little bit entrepreneurial there. And then when I saw a bit of a gap in the market, I've also always done personal training and strength and conditioning on the side. So I've always had like an extra income. So I guess it wasn't a massive leap when I left teaching to start a sports education business, because I always had other income on the side as well. Um, and yeah, I think once I went back into teaching, and I just absolutely hated it. And then the last straw was not being able to go to a competition, of which I did do. I just had to put my resignation in. I just was like, I can do this, and I can make more impact. And I've always been a bit of an impact driven person. I think I'm like, how can I make a difference? How can I make things better? And I just knew I would go to, when I was a secondary school PE teacher, I would get, especially girls, 11-year-old girls, they didn't know how to throw, catch, jump, land. They didn't know the basics. They hated PE. If they weren't into football, they didn't like it. And they thought PE was just football, unfortunately, in many cases. And then I tried to do primary, but again, for me, I struggle here because in primary schools, PE isn't always taught by a PE teacher, a qualified teacher who's been to university. It's either taught by the classroom teacher or a sports coach. And I struggle with that because PE is a curriculum subject. It should be taught.
Yeah.
It's like saying to year 5 class who are about to do their stats and exams, about to say, this year, you're not going to be taught by a teacher, you're going to be taught by a TA. And without being rude, there's amazing TAs and there's amazing sports coaches, but that's principally not right. So I just try to see where I can make more of an impact. And it's in the early years, we get children active, confident, and loving all things sport and physical activity from a young age. So that's been my mission since 2014, and I'm lucky enough to have business partners now in certain regions, and we're up to delivering about 3,000 children a week, which is phenomenal. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does answer the question. I think that from both a pull or determination to carve out, to live the life you way you wanted to live it, and what that meant was you wanted sport to be a key part of that. You were competing at that elite level. The schooling system at the time certainly didn't accommodate it, and wow, and as you said, you were compelled to resign in order to go ahead and compete,
Yeah.
and that helped you then to set up a business. But it's good you were. I mean, that's me replaying what I hear, um, which is, I think, quite special, really. And 3,000 kids a week,
Yeah.
that's a big number. Now, you talk about, I'm perhaps jumping ahead in some respects, but once you started that business and you had your competing priorities of sport, so we're going with a tri-career athlete, tri-career individual. So is it netball? Which one did you have to sort of give up first of your sports, or how did that sort of play out?
I definitely don't think I gave up on anything. I just wasn't good enough to make it anymore. And it was
Yeah.
netball. It was netball. I just, after
Yeah.
having first baby, I just did not recover.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm one of those players that is explosive off the bench. Come on, make a difference. I'm not your starting seven. I'm a
Okay.
hard grafter, and those strengths took a while to come back after baby. So yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't I
Yeah.
didn't go back to netball.
Hmm. And well, look, so that's a retirement from that level, right, or from that sport. But to what extent did you miss it at the time?
I was still coaching at the time, so I guess I I didn't miss it. I don't know. How did I miss it? I don't think I did. I think I actually, I know exactly what I did. I put all of my attention into trying to become um, a high level umpire. I remember
Okay.
putting all my attention into that, exactly that, because at the time, I think I didn't want to transition to just coaching, because in my head, I still wanted to be involved in the game, like doing the game. Um,
Hmm.
and I think that, and I still definitely have that hang up a little bit, probably why I haven't hung up my touch boots. I just feel like to be the best coach, you still got to be in it,
Right.
and doing it. I think that's a mindset that I'll
Hmm.
probably have to work on. But anyway, yeah, I remember trying to then go for my A award in netball,
Right.
I think I put all my attention into there. So I was
Yeah.
still doing netball. I was just officiating
You were well, not, it's
and
not in the
coaching.
middle, is it? Yeah, it's on the side, blowing the whistle louder.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, right. And so for you, so you continued doing rugby, then, or continued doing touch.
Mhm.
As you were competing there, I'm interested then, for you, touch representing England, what did you hope to achieve there? What was like the big goal for you?
um, gosh, I don't know. I think I just get a massive buzz from putting on an England jersey and going to play the game I love. Like I don't know. I would do anything to put on a jersey. There was definitely one year where I didn't make a squad and I was named as a reserve, and it devastated me. And I basically just was like, no, I'm not having this. And just went to the high performance director and I said, I would do anything to put a jersey on. I don't, there's other teams out there that could definitely use me. He's like, yeah, you're right. And, so then I had two other offers to join two other teams, because in touch you have your main men's and women's, but then you have a mixed team and then you have seniors, yeah, I just wanted to put a jersey on and I wanted to make a difference and play and do what I do. And I don't know, I honestly, I don't know how to explain it. I think it's just a little bit part of my identity, and I'm just in the zone, and I just feel like me. And now these days, I don't feel like the business owner that has to pay the wages at the end of the month, or the mum that has to go and do mum's taxi. Like, I just feel like me. I don't know how else to
Mm.
explain it.
I think you've explained it wonderfully. It's a sense you're just enjoying playing, like,
Yeah,
and you push yourself. What pushing yourself for you is getting to that jersey. That's, it's that level, right?
yeah, yeah. And I
So,
hope to still be able to do it regardless of the level. I mean, as I've
yeah.
as we've clearly discussed
Well,
here, I need to do some mindset work on that. But I was at a women in sport event
yeah.
last night, a charity event, and I met the most amazing lady, um, who she was actually GB's one of GB's first rowing medalists. So it's Miriam. It was in 2000 Sydney Olympics, and she won the first ever medal, a silver medal. And she's talked through her journey and how much she still rows and she still bikes, and
Mhm. Yeah.
she's just finished a cancer battle, and like she does it because it's a connection to her life. It feels like her life,
Yeah.
and yeah, I
Mhm.
think for many athletes they hold on to that as long as possible.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, we do, masters, whatever level it might be. There is this enjoyment of playing. I think what is, thought provoking, by the way you've described it for you, is it's the playing, it's the participation. No, not the participation. I don't mean that in a yeah, just rock up and get
Yeah,
a badge. But I mean, okay, it's the competing, it's getting in there and getting stuck in. And the way you've described yourself as a player there, that graft, that grit, that determination, and it probably is just like you growing up on the Gold Coast, just playing sport, and B team, A team, doesn't matter. You're just playing, you're just
yeah,
enjoying it.
yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I think the first years in England, um, when we were playing in Europe, I hated to lose. We didn't lose anything. You know, the only time we lost was every 4 years when we come to the World Cup. So I definitely got into a really bad habit of, you know, not liking to lose and not taking it very well. But I think as I aged and had children, and just then felt so grateful to still be playing and to still put an England jersey on every single year, I think
Yes.
I've really changed to the fact whereas I don't mind if we lose, because like you never fail, you only learn, and it's almost like I kind of want that. Like I want a new learning experience, and sometimes by winning all the time, I'm not really learning, and I'm not there's no progression there. So yeah, I try to put myself in situations where it's going to be hard to win, and I actually like that now. Like I really really like that now, whereas I don't know, 5-10 years ago that would not have been me. I would be throwing my toys out the pram if we lost. So yeah, but I really like that, and I'm almost like that in business now as well. I'm like,
Well,
let's
I was gonna
fail
say,
fast. Let's fail fast so we can learn,
yeah.
right? So yeah.
When you first started your business ventures, was in the height of your competitive period, as as we're saying, 18 months in, and you find yourself in the world champs on nationals, worlds for netball and in touch as well. How has your approach to business then changed, do you think, over this sort of 11-year period of running Sport Minis?
Oh yeah. Um, I think it's changed because what I've learned is that um,
Hi, it's Ryan Gonsalves here. Thanks for tuning in today. I just want to take a moment to ask you an important favor. To help grow this channel, one thing will do that above more than anything else. Please hit that subscribe button. By hitting that subscribe button, you help me to grow the channel, allowing me to create more tailored content, improving the quality, and also to develop additional services such as the workshops, one-on-one sessions specifically designed to support elite athletes in that difficult transition to that career beyond sport. So if you want to join me on this journey to help inspire, guide, and connect individuals to find their second wind, please hit that subscribe button.
you need to surround yourself and most likely hire the best that you can. And I used to worry that I would hire a coach that would be better than me and the school would want them over me. Or at the beginning of the career, I was like always hiring female sports coaches because we were so underrepresented, But what I really learned was, you know, I am definitely now at the point where my favorite part of my job is motivating and inspiring my team, not being threatened by how amazing they are and just trying to make them as good as they can be and just have them as passionate about physical education as I am. Um, and it took me a while to learn that, I think. And I think that comes from probably all those competitive years of trying to make teams and be selected. And, you're competing against others until you're in the team and then, you're working towards each other to get there. So
Yeah.
I think I just can be very competitive at times. And I think that's probably held me back until I could realize that you're only as good as the people around you. So that's definitely a big lesson learned. And then I think, believe it or not, my businesses have always grown when I'm not doing the doing. So when I'm on maternity leave or when I'm training for a big comp and my business is second priority, the business grows.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes I'm the bottleneck, being a dominant personality, a control freak. It sometimes holds my business back. So I've definitely learned to let go and just to sit back and again be strategic at the top and motivate and inspire others to do the doing.
Yeah. It's quite the turnaround, isn't it?
Only
You
taken 11 years.
talking. Yeah, I didn't hear it the first time. Tell me again. 11 years later. Oh, I've got you. I get it. No, but it is. Well, I suppose sport gives lots of lessons, and I can hear the parallels as you tell the two sides, to you as an athlete, to you as a business owner, and now sport for you then is enjoyment, is taking part and doing it, right? Um, and I don't know, is it? I suppose the bit that's going through my mind is, well, that's okay because you're an international and you're winning lots, so that's okay. So it makes it seem like, yeah, you're competitive, but you're not over the top, but you're still elite, right? Still the best there. Um, don't know. I don't know what my question is around that piece, but it does get me to the business side, and it says to me, well, when you think about your business, where do you want that to go? How far do you want that to reach?
Yeah. Um, so with Sporty Minis, I would love to be in every region in the UK and potentially explore. But the one thing I have learned in business is the word patience, because I'm very ambitious, obviously, but I used to beat myself up when I didn't hit targets and almost change strategy all the time. And that was definitely what's kept me back. And I think that whole strategy change comes from being a games player, right? Like there's always a strategy to outwit an opponent or outwit
Yeah.
an opposition. So I think that's probably been something I've taken into business, which probably hasn't served me at times. Um, so patience. I need to be patient with my growth. And I'm really happy. Recently, changed from a franchise model to a business partnership model, and absolutely love it. It suits me better. It suits our business better, and um, I'm really excited to see where that's going to go. And I guess um, we've been 11 years, and I would love to, have this legacy for my girls to take over if that's something they want to do. But if not, I know that I'm giving opportunities to those passionate about sport and physical activity. Um, and I would
Yeah.
continue to do that. They won't get opportunities other places, and I know I can offer that to them. And we make such an impact to the we make such an impact to the children, and we are trying to make an impact to the industry. We're trying to um, have government see and the earlier sectors see that daily physical education is very, very important. Um, running outside is important, but also structured is also very important for physical, emotional, and social well-being. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the goals for Sporty Minis, and I guess I'm kind of stepping up into a role of being a leader, a keynote speaker around AI. I would love to keep trying to stay in the world of AI for education, because education is kind of where I'm always
Yeah.
at, and I just love to see where that takes me. I think we are going into new amazing times, and with all of my, I guess, high performance experiences, along with all my business experiences and my passion for AI technology, I think I just go out and help who I can help, whoever wants to be helped that day. How can I help you?
What a lovely way of saying it. But it is. It's good though. It's good because you've there is obviously that business focus, and I can hear that and that growth. The impact is what really comes out strongest as I listen to you. The impact you want to have on, I'll say, society, right? So, but the children in society, which I think is really noble, and it sounds a lot more. And honestly, it sounds like being there and doing it is what motivates you again,
Yeah.
rather than it being this huge. I need to be a $50 billion business. It's more about that impact and across the regions.
Number doesn't appeal to me. I mean, my partner might get a little annoyed at me at times that I'm not driven by the money, um, but but I also appreciate that the money drives the growth. So you
Hmm.
know, I'm not under any illusions. Money is freedom, and money is opportunities. So I'm definitely aligned from that perspective. It's just that I
Yeah.
would I would rather be helping those that need to be helped than, um, yeah, selling my soul. It's just the way I've always
Yes.
been.
Yeah. Fair call. Fair call. So look, when you think about athletes who I guess are going on a, I don't know if it's a similar path, but I think it's athletes who are looking at, you actually the way I'm thinking about it is you felt as a try career, but as an athlete, that you were being held back by your job, by the career choice, that professional career choice that you had made, and you then struck out, quit, and boom, went by yourself and set up this business and pushed your career to great heights. When you think of other athletes then who are not actually, yeah, who are not professional and therefore do have these jobs, what guidance, advice would you give to them, uh, as they think about, funding their career and supporting themselves in that life alongside sport?
Yeah. I think what I would say is we live in a world of opportunities, and often reflecting on your strengths that you've got now and all the things you've done to get you where you are now really gives you confidence to go, okay, do I want to be plateauing along here, or do I want to step up and make a decision about, what am I capable of? um, because I think often many of us get stuck in wanting to take the next step in any direction, whether it's sport or whether it's career or whether it's a business. It's the doubt and fear and judgment. We go, oh, what if we fail and people, think of this of us, or what if I can't do it? And actually, no one can tell you to go and do it. It all comes from within you. And I think the best way to be able to give yourself confidence enough is to look back at all your achievements and really celebrate all the small and big wins, like big or small, doesn't matter, they're all relevant. And then just think, what did I do to get to where I am now? What experiences did I have? And sometimes um, that alone, you think, actually, yeah, I am really good at talking to people and being able to, convince somebody to join me, or I am really good at organizing and doing events, and I'm I am really good at being able to stand up in front of people. Like you just you all of the experiences you have from being an athlete, you'll pick them up and you'll go, yeah, perfect. That will, I know that I can do those, and whatever steps I take next. Um, what's the worst that's going to happen? You win or you lose. And if you win, great. If you lose, you still won because you learned something. Like there's no failing in life. The only failure is not taking that step.
Wonderful, wonderfully said, Marnie. That's good. And look, I think it is. Like you say, it's about that um, reflecting on your strengths, reflecting on what got you here. What got you to this moment where you have this decision to make. And I like the way you said you want to just plateau, and I guess in some respects regret not giving it a shot, not giving it a go, and sort of accepting a failure before you even start. Don't. That's
Yeah.
probably not what got you to that decision in the first place. So don't let it stop you from moving forward now.
No, and we do that in sport. We can do that in sport, but often if you're competitive enough, you get over it. So, when I was playing rugby, it's like if I'm going in thinking I'm going to get hurt in a tackle or I'm going to get injured, I'm going to get hurt and injured in a tackle. You can't go in
Yes.
with the
Yeah.
mindset of failure or doubt or fear, and you can't do that on the pitch. So guess what? You can't do that in life either. And when you realize and you catch yourself, that's when you need to have some self confidence and be able to tell yourself that there there is no there's no losing here. We never lose.
That's it. We don't lose. We learn. That's it.
Yes.
Um, Look, Marnie, it's been great just getting your story, getting a bit of your perspective over the past sort of 50 or so minutes. And look, there are going to be others listening who are going to want to pick up and follow your journey a little bit more. Where's the best place to find you and follow your story?
Yeah. So I'm quite active on LinkedIn. It's probably the platform that I'm mostly active on. So it's Marnie Wills Entrepreneur. And then my business accounts are Sporty Minis UK um, on Insta, and business with AI underscore strategist on Insta as well. Um, but I mean, you could come and find my personal account on Insta if you like. You'll just see all my little girls. It's just family life there, really, with a bit of sport added in there. But yeah,
Awesome. Look, Marnie, thank you very much for, well, bringing your perspective on, well, as I go through on here and finding that career clarity. And I think you've given some great hints and tips for myself and others to take forward. So thanks very much.
oh, thanks, Ryan. It's been a privilege.